India has been portrayed to be an extremely regressive society when it comes to women's rights. Feminists continue attacking the Hindu traditions, framing them as Brahmanical and patriarchal at large. We are shown as a society where women suffer due to ancient dogma that leads to dowry murders and female feticide. Now let us look around the world a little bit. Every other major civilization has had a history of dowry except India. Arrian and Megasthenes, who came to India in 300 BC, have documented a total absence of the dowry system in India. Al-Biruni has observed the same. What our wine-sipping historians skipped telling us is, dowry was never an Indian custom. It was brought to India by the British. Till the late 19th century, while the British were civilizing us, dowry was a common custom back home in Britain. In India, the wealth of women was transferred from mother to daughter as Stridhan. Rural land was generally not tradable. Movable wealth was controlled exclusively by women. Stridhan gave women a high status in society. The British passed laws that made property tradable and that only males could inherit it. The Raj would confiscate your land if you did not have a male heir. This law made a male child imperative, which our historians chose to blame on backward Hinduism. More spouses are killed in the US for insurance money than in India for dowry, but no one makes insurance murders in the US a cultural crime. Colonial consciousness turns every crime into a crime of native culture, while in the master race, a crime remains an aberration, merely a criminal act. How funny that the West has always mocked India for women's rights, while they were themselves Talibanized until the 19th century.
The ancient Hindu tradition called sati, wherein a widow who'd burned herself to death on her husband's pyre, was initially a voluntary act that was considered to be quite courageous and heroic. But it later became a forced practice. In mythological terms, Sati was the name of the wife of Lord Shiva. It is said that Sati was the daughter of Daksha, who was the son of Brahma. Her father never respected Shiva and often despised him. To protest against the hatred that her father held for her husband, she burned herself. While she was burning, she prayed to be reborn as Shiva's wife again. This did happen, and her new incarnation was called Parvati. People used to justify the practice based on this tale, but when Sati burned herself, she wasn't a widow, and thus the practice is quite unrelated to this tale. Sati did not immolate herself on her husband's funeral pyre. Initially, the practice of sati was confined to royal families of Kshatriya caste and only later spread to the lower caste, becoming widely practiced among all social classes. The widow of a royal family preferred dying rather than being captured, raped, and disgraced by the soldier who defeated their king in the war. The upper caste, like Brahmin, did not practice the sati system, as Brahmin were considered as a pure soul. Most accounts either describe women seated on their husband's funeral pyre or lying down next to the dead body. Some say women would jump or walk into the pyre after it had been lit, while others report that women would sit on the pyre and then light it themselves. Some of the family property after their husband's death. Parasara Smriti says that a widow or a married woman whose husband has left her for good can remarry if she so decides. Thank you.